And we're rolling.
Hello, and welcome to Rated D for Drink, where we review movies and pair them with alcohol. Because everyone knows, when you're watching a movie, you need to know what to drink, and sometimes you just can't figure it out. Well, we're here for you. In our inaugural edition of Rated D for Drink, we're going to start with Poltergeist, a 1981 Steven Spielberg classic, because it is October, and that is a Halloween-type movie. To pair a drink with Poltergeist, we couldn't find anything in the movie that kind of said, drink me.
Other than beer.
Other than beer. I'm not drinking a Budweiser. So we went to ChatGPT and came up with something that we call the static screen. We'll be talking about this drink and the movie during this podcast. With me today, I'm Steve, Ranger in a Kilt, Christina, Mark, and James.
Whoa.
Mark?
Yeah, as Steve said, we're discussing Poltergeist. It was our first movie. It's a cult classic. Basically, it is a family that moves into a house. They're living a normal 80s family life. Some strange things start happening, and they escalate until the daughter, spoilers ahead, the daughter disappears, and they have to call in the big guns. So I guess let's get into this discussion of the Poltergeist.
Yeah.
Classic movie.
Classic.
Who saw it in the theater? I know.
I wasn't alive then.
He wasn't alive. So we're all Gen Xers except for James here. He's borderline millennial Gen X. He's closer to the Gen X side. So this is an older film. As Mark mentioned, cult classic. And as it's an older movie, you would imagine that some of the cinematography, special effects, dialogue, pacing of the film, as well as some of the acting a little bit. It's gonna be a little different.
Some of it holds up.
Yeah.
Some of it will feel a little dated. Some of it might feel a little offensive, and we'll get into that one part.
Yeah.
But that's how the 80s were. Good, bad, or indifferent. You can't change history.
It's true.
Bunch of latchkey kids.
That's right. Yeah, so I guess let's start with your favorite scene. Maybe whether it has to do with how you felt, how it affected you when you watched it, maybe just, cinematography-wise, acting-wise.
Christina, you want to jump in? Your favorite scene?
Sure. So, I think my favorite scene, actually, it's kind of a series of scenes. It's really when they bring in the psychic medium, who, if you don't know, if you haven't seen the movie, some of the younger generation, she is a smaller in stature lady, and she kind of has this creepy vibe to her, obviously, since she's a psychic medium. But I think the scenes with her in them, I personally enjoy those the best. I think there's some really funny aspects to it as well.
Mm-hmm.
There was definitely humor to the
You're
horror.
jamming my frequencies.
You're jamming my frequencies.
It's
The line from the movie.
She perfected the fight creepy with creepy because she was right there with the ghosts.
And I will say this, little did you know, she was purported to have psychic powers in real life.
Oh, really?
She said she was
Before or after the movie?
before,
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Maybe that's why they brought her in.
Yeah, maybe.
possibly.
James, what about you? Your favorite scene?
I would have to say my favorite scene was probably when the first paranormal investigators came in, talking about how they saw a little matchbox car go 7 feet in 7 hours.
Yeah.
And the father
Just kind of gave that look. Yeah, whatever. Just hold my Budweiser.
Yeah, hold my beer. And he opened the door to the kids' room where everything was spinning.
Mark?
Great scene.
Sure can.
I've got two memorable ones for two different reasons.
Okay.
One is the face peeling. So the poltergeist is playing games with everybody's head, trying to get them to leave the house. And one of them is part of the first paranormal investigative team who sees some maggots come out of some food he eats, so he immediately runs into the bathroom, rinse out his mouth. In the process of that, his face starts peeling off, and he's ripping it off. It's falling into the sink. It's really disgusting. And as a, I don't know, 6, 7, 8-year-old, when I first watched this show the first time, that show or that scene petrified.
That's definitely something if you see that
As a
in
kid.
a house.
As a kid,
No, I'm just saying if you're that person in the bathroom, you don't stay there to keep investigating.
you leave, which I think he did.
Which I think he did.
He did leave the house.
Yeah, he ended up
He's
leaving the house.
the only smart one.
Yep.
The only smart one.
My second favorite scene is it's when she, again, spoilers ahead, they think they have cleared the house. And it is just the mom and the children home. And the entity starts trying to take the children. And as the mother is trying to get to their room, the hallway
it's
lengthens,
longer.
it's longer.
It's very, you know.
And after I was looking that up, how they did that, it's all just camera work.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
So yeah, they just took the camera and I can't remember.
It's very Hitchcock.
Yes, and they
Yeah.
like zoomed the camera out, but narrowed the frame, and so I thought it was a pretty neat little.
Mine is, and I can't believe no one beat me to this one. You moved the bodies, but you didn't move the headstones.
No, you moved the headstones.
You moved the headstones, but you didn't move the bodies.
Yes.
Which shows that time is timeless because you would not. That would not surprise anybody if a modern developer did that.
Oh,
No, I'm sure that
I
happens.
mean, the way houses are going up and the poor construction quality, that's the cheap way out.
And I can honestly say too, how many stories have you heard since then where a haunting happened and they're like, oh, it was built on an Indian burial ground. Yeah, so it's.
Which we actually.
That's actually become a cultural, embedded in the cultural zeitgeist.
Yes.
It's that if it's haunted, you built it on an old cemetery that they left the bodies behind.
Yeah. Totally not related to the movie. Side story. Our father growing up owned his own business, and we were all convinced that the building that the business was located in was built on an Indian burial ground because there were very strange occurrences. I would say probably kind of poltergeist-esque.
Yeah.
And Mark has more experience.
Yeah.
So to clarify, by the way, siblings, spouse.
Yeah.
Just in case.
Yeah. No, it was. I think Dad played into that a bit as well.
Yeah, he
But
probably.
again, growing up in the Midwest,
Yep.
a lot of Native Americans lived in those areas way back when, so it would not surprise me.
So another thing that, again, if you grew up in the age of cable, you might not realize that before cable, when you were watching TV at midnight, it shut down. TV went away. They played the national anthem, and it was static till 6 o'clock in the morning when it started with the morning news. So you might not understand why there's static on the TV. I don't think you can actually get static on TV anymore.
No,
But pre-cable, TV actually only went from 6 in the morning to midnight. There was nothing on. There was no 2 a.m. watching whatever.
So for all the Gen A, Gen Alpha out there, that's why that was the medium for her to touch the poltergeist.
now we've done our favorite scenes and little side stories. Let's get into the meat and potatoes of the movie.
Why didn't they leave the goddamn house?
White people. Us white people never leave the house.
Easy.
I got everything tied up in this place.
Yeah, it makes no sense. Like I said, the one guy was the smartest guy.
Would you nope out? Write that in the comments. Would you nope out after the first incident?
I bet some of you would dip out even after the daughter went away.
Just leave the daughter.
Yeah.
We can make another one. We're young couple.
We got 2 other kids. We're fine.
True.
It is.
Yeah, we talked about that a lot while we were watching. Why are they still there?
It makes no sense.
Why haven't they left? Especially after they got their girl back, they decided to just,
Yeah.
you know, the house is clean, but
Supposedly.
Come on now.
Well, there's that, and toward the end, after everything has happened, and they're packing up all their boxes and everything to move, and they're still staying in the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, the oldest daughter had gone to stay with friends, but she decided to come back.
Yeah.
Might be a nice plot hole to propagate the story.
But if you haven't seen it, it's definitely high on, if you are a horror fan, it is high on the classic horror.
It's a classic. If you're a horror fan, if you haven't watched it, I don't think you're a real horror fan.
It's very rewatchable.
Compared to some modern movies, it might seem not too scary.
And there are some post-movie shenanigans that have happened that makes it a little bit even more scary.
Oh, the curse.
Oh, yeah,
The curse. Yeah, let's talk about the curse.
So, there have been 3 Poltergeist movies, I believe. 3 and then 1 remake.
Only the first is worth watching.
Only the first.
That's a caveat I'll throw out there.
But over the course of the 3 movies, 4 actors had died in kind of odd ways, I'd say. The older sister in the first movie was killed by her boyfriend in her driveway. The young girl who plays Carol Ann had died during a bowel obstruction surgery because she was originally misdiagnosed with Crohn's. And then they found out it was bowel obstruction, and by then, I guess it was too late. If you watch Poltergeist 2, the bad guy he was filming with cancer and he passed, which, I mean, that's not too mysterious.
Like Alan Rickman in the Harry Potter series.
Cancer affects everybody. Chadwick Boseman and the Black Panther.
Oh, yeah. Forgot about that one.
And then Will Sampson, the Native American actor, had passed away also during surgery, which was, I want to say, a lung and heart transplant surgery, which I guess is very hard to do.
Those are 2 key.
Yeah, back in the 80s, too.
It was a very risky surgery already, but again, like I said, back in the 80s, even more risky, and removing, so I guess maybe 2 kind of odd deaths.
That's creepy.
I think the Carol Ann was around 10, I think, when she died.
Yeah,
she was
right.
6 during the first one, and then was around 10 when she died. So yeah, it's a great movie. It's got some interesting did you knows. James got a
Couple of them under his hat there, or on his paper next to his drink.
Yes.
fancy.
There it
That
is.
was slick, James. That was slick.
Thank you. One fun fact in a scene that's kind of ridiculous when you watch it, they use real skeletons.
So there's a scene where the mom falls in the pool.
I didn't know if we were doing
Spoilers. We've already done spoilers.
Okay.
If
The movie's 40 years old. If you haven't seen it yet, that's your fault.
Yeah, so the mom falls in the pool, and they're digging a pool in the backyard. It's just a shape, and it's been raining, so the deep end is filled with water. By the way, that deep end must be about 15 feet deep.
Yeah.
Yes, and when she comes up,
And like
she's coming up with skeletons, and I didn't know they were real skeletons.
I didn't
kind
either.
of gotta wonder who they were and why.
it was cheaper to use real skeletons than the plastic models. And is it Toby?
That sounds a little crazy.
Toby Hooper did the original Texas Chainsaw.
Okay.
And he did the same thing by using real skeletons instead of fake ones, which is where Spielberg got the idea since.
Not that I have an
Toby
eye
was-
on the market, but I've heard real skeletons are kind of pricey.
I mean, back in the 80s, you could get
It's the 80s. I remember there was a lot going on in the 80s.
You had to be there.
You had to be there. You can't understand how Wild West was in the 80s.
But you had a few more interesting tidbits.
Oh, that.
Well, the one Mark had already brought up in terms.
Yeah.
Another one, there is some debate on who actually was the director of the movie. If it was Toby Hooper or Steven Spielberg.
I'm going to go with Toby Hooper. Steven Spielberg doesn't need any more props.
Yeah. But sadly, he's probably going to get the
He
credit.
does. Another quick little tidbit is
I love you, Steven. Don't get me wrong. I'm trying to dish you.
one of the first, I want to say, early on horror movies that was nominated for an Oscar for special effects. It ended up losing to E.T.
Another
that year,
Spielberg.
another Spielberg movie. So
Guy had a monopoly back
They
then.
actually called that stunt because they both came out in summer was the Spielberg summer. It was summer of Spielberg, one of the two. So
Yeah, I actually saw a thing where they were talking about the implosion of a house. And going back to the time, there was no CGI, so they do it with practical effects. And they couldn't just reverse an explosion because that just brings it back to its initial state. So they had to actually build a model. They even made the little furniture, tied several hundred strings to it, pulled it in, and then they actually had a guy with a shotgun to blast it the rest of the way down into this hole. So, because once they did that, it was ruined. It would have to start over. And it was several $100,000.
I'd like to talk to the person that came up with that.
It's movie magic back in the day.
It's just,
those,
You did what you had
I
to
think
do.
people don't appreciate ILM and all those early pioneers in special effects. Because we have CGI, you just make Avatar, right?
I mean, AI can basically do it now.
Back then, you had to figure out how can we make this out of models and camera angles and camera shots and, you know.
I do think practical effects are the best.
They're way better.
They're
Oh, yeah.
better.
Oh yeah,
Way better.
I like that.
I will say
Evil Dead movies
the face peeling graphic isn't the greatest now if you watch it. But I would say like the ghosts and the spirits still hold up fairly well.
Yeah, those are for the time.
So as I'm comparing down to the bottom of my drink here, again, the static screen that we came up with, because even if you Google Poltergeist, you're going to see the girl in front of the TV with the static.
It's probably one of the more iconic shots in a movie.
You know, when you're...
That's the movie. That was the movie poster.
That was the movie poster.
Her standing in front of the TV with her hand on the TV.
So, you know, this great drink of a vodka base is, you know, just kind of thing that will get you, take the edge off, although it's not really scary enough nowadays to be edge taken off. But having watched it originally in the theater, you needed the edge taken off.
Yeah, it's still a very enjoyable movie.
Yeah, and with that, we'll actually cue the cutaway.
To discuss how to make this wonderful drink.
See y'all in a little bit.
Okay, here we are at the drink portion of Rated D for Drink. We talked about the static screen. You saw us enjoying it. Now we're going to show you how to make it at home. You're not going to be able to find this by Googling it because we did make it up from ChatGPT. So we're going to leave the instructions and ingredients in the comments so you can finish this off and enjoy that nice drink to take the edge off of a horror movie. It is a vodka-based drink, so you're off with whatever vodka you like. Some blue curaçao, lemon juice, some simple syrup, club soda, and if you want that extra screen from the static screen, get some edible sprinkles. You're gonna need your shaker with ice, a glass with ice, crushed or cubed, your choice. You're gonna need a strainer, spoon, and your jigger. So we're gonna start off with the vodka. It's 2 ounces of vodka. It's gonna help if I open the top. 2 ounces of vodka. We're using Grey Goose chilled. Be generous, because it is a horror movie. That's what the towel's for. I'm a little bit messy. I'm not a professional bartender, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn last night. If you watch that movie in the theater, you'll remember that joke. Half an ounce of blue curaçao. Gives it that TV look. Then we go to our lemon juice, I'm sorry. Half ounce of lemon juice. Gives it that little bitter sweetness combination there. This is the pure sweetness here with the half ounce of simple syrup. Put the top on the shaker and make it like you're mad at it. Should be nice and frothy in there. Throw your strainer on top and look at that beautiful blue goodness. Just give it a little top of club soda, add some of that fizz. A dash of your static. Gently stir that in. And remember, check under your bed.